Aloha and welcome. My name is Kaleo Paik and I'm your host for today's Giving Aloha show. I am actually from the island of Hawaii and born and raised in Kona. I have been for many, many years a cultural advisor and guidance for cultural things, and I am very much a proponent of preservation and protection and guiding people into doing that kind of thinking for our future generations. But today we are here to talk about a very exciting project. We have members of the Livable Hawaii Kai Hui as well as the Land Legacy. The Trust for Public Lands, and we are here to talk about a 5-acre parcel that is, a year or two ago, people would have said it was something that was impossible to happen, yet the impossible did happen with the help of the community as well as for the Trust for Public Land. And this is for the Keawa'awa wetlands and also the Hawea Heiau complex. But today we have with us 3 wonderful women, and first is Elizabeth. Reilly, we'll start with you.
Aloha, my name is Elizabeth Reilly and I'm president of Livable Hawaii Kai Hui, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit grassroots organization, and we just had our 8th year anniversary. The work that we do, though it says Hawaii Kai Hui, actually stretches from Makapu'u all the way through and including part of Kahala. And the geographic area that we cover also aligns well with a city document called the East Honolulu Sustainable Communities Plan. And so the overarching foundation of what we do is uphold the integrity of that document. Now, embedded within that document are natural and cultural resources. So the work that we're doing specifically for the project that we're talking today does speak to that plan. And the Hui will, in the next review process, make sure that the project we're talking about is also documented in there. So as a 501c3 community-based organization, working on this particular project is just really exciting. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And now, Laura, if you could tell a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Sure. Laura Ka'akua, and I'm Native Lands Project Manager for the Trust for Public Land. And the Trust for Public Land is a national nonprofit organization. We've been working in Hawaii since 1979, and we basically help communities, nonprofits, and government agencies to protect places that are special to them throughout the islands and on the continent as well.
Thank you. And Anne-Marie?
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Kirk. I'm on the Natural Resource and Cultural Committee of the Livable Hawaii Kai Hui, and it's my honor to serve with you, Chris Kramer, Kavika Parker, Pulama Collier, Jean Razor. I apologize for who I'm missing. But it's a great group of people that are on that committee. And we're working on the project specifically as Hawea Heiau Complex and Keawa'awa Wetlands, which is in the Maunalua area.
Well, since you brought up that, can you tell us a little history of how this project actually came into being?
We live in East Oahu in the area called Maunalua, and it's just a culturally rich area. People have a perception that, you know, it's Hawaii Kai, which has been there for 50 years. And I'm a product of the development of Hawaii Kai, but the longer history is Maunalua, and people have been there for over 1,000 years. We have radiocarbon dating that attests to that. Our Ō'lelo, our stories actually go further back. Hawea Heiau Complex is at the base of Kaluanui Ridge, and it's got its name from a drum that came from Tahiti with La'amai Kahiki, I believe me. I hope I got that right. And it came into our area, and what happened was the sound of the drum was so beautiful that someone on land heard it, and they actually took the drum and they brought it to Hawea. And the drum was so beautiful there. And this, we're talking about the 11th, 12th century. The drum then moves to Kukani Loko 400 years later at the time of Kuali'i. So this spot in Maunalua is culturally significant, not only to East Oahu, but the island in general and to the state in general. What had happened was, in the work with Chris Kramer, who's a cultural historian in East Oahu, we all started working towards finding out more about this site. And in finding about the site, everyone was just so into, you know, this incredible history, but at the same time, we had a development taking place. And this development was to do a high-rise condo, and also in the area that is Hawea Heiau Complex, which includes Keawa'awa wetlands. It was going to be developed. It was going to become tennis courts and swimming pools. And so the community came together and said, how can we work with the developer and save this area. We had a change of developers, which actually eased the process. And when we got that second developer in, then became the discussion of how we save this, because this 5-acre parcel has on it Hawea Heao platform, it has Kiava'ava village site, it has petroglyphs, it has a spring well, it has the last remnant of Kiahupua fish pond, which is Kuapa. It's just so culturally rich and diverse in things we can learn there.
Yes.
So no longer it's not a cultural park to me, it's a cultural library. It's a place where we check in, we find out about our kupuna, and we also find out what can we do for the future, for the descendants who follow us and who are going to learn from this area. So is that good enough? Did that explain it?
Excellent, excellent. And now, Elizabeth, if you could kind of expound upon that, because the Livable Hawaii Kai Hui actually got involved. It was originally an 8-acre parcel and for development, and then now it's only a 3-acre and 5 acres for the park, shall we say, for lack of a better word.
Sure. It's been just an amazing opportunity to be a part of that transition from an 8-acre parcel of development to 5 acres for the community and then 3 acres for the developer. So as Anne-Marie had indicated, when there was a changing of the development management team, it was a perfect opportunity for us to sit with them and embrace and talk about and really inspire and teach them what it was that we had learned, the research that was done. And it wasn't just about the Hawea Heao complex, but it was also other details such as the wetland and the area in which it extended to. And I really feel that the development team that we're working with understood and embraced it quite well. We had probably about 6 or 7 meetings with the community coming together to talk about how do we coexist. And then just one day, I think the stars were just aligned perfectly, and one of us said, why don't we just buy it from you? Let's just keep it as a community heritage park and allow the community to do the necessary work to perpetuate the knowledge, learn more about the place, connect it with the community, and take pride from a developer standpoint that they have this right next door. And as I indicated, the stars were aligned. They loved the idea. We had good conversation about how that might work. And then we were very fortunate to have the Trust for Public Land come in and truly do the magic and make it happen, because they bring the business to it. As a community member, a nonprofit, well-intended, great idea, would love to do it, but how do you really do it? Where do you get the funding? How do you manage it in perpetuity? So we were so blessed to have the Trust for Public Land look at it and see it through the same lens that we did.
Yeah, thank you. And, that kind of segues right into the Trust for Public Land and their role and how that all came about for the preservation of that 5-acre parcel.
Sure.
Laura?
As with many of our projects, we speak with a community member or a group of community members that are really passionate about protecting a certain place, and that's exactly what happened with Hawea. We were approached by Elizabeth Reilly and Tai Hong, and they told us their great work in educating the community about this resource right in the center of Hawaii Kai. They told us about their ongoing discussions with the landowner developer and how the developer was now interested in being a part of this legacy of protecting the area. And for us, it was such a natural fit to assist this community group. In Hawaii, we focus on 3 strategic priority areas. We focus on coastal or shoreline lands, lands that perpetuate Hawaiian culture, and lands that help Hawaii to become sustainable in food, water, and energy. And so this project really touched on all 3 of our priority areas. Anne-Marie talked about the great resources there, and really the potential in terms of sustainability and perpetuation of culture is limitless with this project. So I was excited about it. Our State Director, Leah Hong, was very excited about it from the get-go. And really, the community enthusiasm behind it just made it so easy, because the community was there supporting it, willing to put in the man hours, willing to educate their neighbors, and we came in to assist on the transactional side to make it a reality.
as my comment and I opened up, everyone said, "Oh, it can't be done, can't be done." But you know, it really came to fruition because we had dedicated community members and dedicated Trust for Public Lands to really come support. Now, Anne-Marie, I have a question for you. Okay. And this is about the name. The original name of that project, I know, was a bit of a concern for some of the community members. Can you talk about that, why the name changed?
The original project first began, it was called Haleali'i. The House of the Ali'i, and I think, I know many in the Hawaiian community were upset with that name and really thought, you know, it just didn't fit with the area itself. And I have to say the Maunalua community and the Waimanalo community came together and really started to express their concerns, and we had a new development team who came in, and I really thank them because they really listened to us, and they recognized that there needs to be a name change. So they changed the name to Hale Kalai. If you don't mind, I wanted to just very quickly talk about the importance of community, because that's one idea of how community came together. But when there was a possibility where we weren't going to have Havea, we weren't going to have Keawa'awa, it was a real threat that it was going to be gone. And this is before we had changed developers. We had put out a call to the community, a simple email that said, please, can you drum with us? Havea is a drum. We want to go to Havea and we want to drum there. And we want to call our kupuna and ask them to guide us because we need their help. Because we don't know how to stop this. We don't know how to stop the bulldozers coming in. Bulldozers went in and destroyed 3 petroglyphs that we'll never have back again. So what are we going to do? So you, myself, and Chris Kramer put out a simple email and said, November 7th, 2009, wherever you are, just join us and drum. If you don't have a drum, get a pot and pan. Get whatever you have to make noise. And we thought it was going to be people would come and join us at Havea. Well, because of email, it quickly spread around the world. I was shocked. Within a week, we had people in New Zealand, Spain, Australia, across the continental U.S. from New York, Chicago, San Francisco. Every island was emailing us. And it was, I'm chicken skin right now talking about it, because I was just blown away. I never thought that would happen. And when November 7th happened, and at 6 p.m. and we went to Havea, it was an incredible feeling to know that around the world, in New York City, they were at Times Square, and they were drumming with us. And there was a beautiful piece that came out of the email, which I credit you, Kaleo, which was, even if you didn't have a drum, you didn't have something to make noise with, just tap over your heart, because of the beat of your heart will unite us all. And that night we went into Havea, the sun was setting and the darkness came in, and you just heard the sound of the drum. And it got louder and louder, and everyone got quieter. And we were there for an hour, and there was a little bit of drama, which I won't get into, with police. But know your rights. We have the rights to be on our cultural sites. No one can have us go off them. We were able in this opportunity to educate the police about that law. But you know, we went for an hour and we drummed, and it was just a beautiful experience. And over the next few days, we started receiving email from around the world just about what had taken place where they were drumming, from the Native American community, from the Maori community, from Big Island to Kauai. And when we were at Havea and we were leaving and the drumming was pow, there was an owl that flew above us and screeched. And everyone just kind of turned, and everyone was kind of blown away by that. And what started to come in the emails was at these different sites in Australia and New Zealand, owls were appearing. It was not anyone talking about it. It was just an incredible moment. And to me, that energy and that strength of community is what got us to where we are today. And you know, all those people, all that energy, it just blows my mind that happened. But it says that you can do it. You can do it, don't you guys?
Yeah. And I think that, Laura, if you could, how big a role is it for the Trust for Public Lands to make their decision on what projects they accept by community support? Is that a big...
It really is everything. Even though we've accomplished much in conserving land throughout the islands, we are still a nonprofit ourselves, and so we can't create a community. You have to really have that groundswell, and then we can help the community to organize, but there really has to be those passionate people in the community that see some place that is deserving of protection and are willing to do what it takes to protect it. In this case, the community was willing to deal with police. They were willing to take a stand and assert their cultural rights of practice. And that speaks volumes, to many people, to others in the community who don't understand yet the value of the resource there. It speaks volumes to other nonprofits and to funders who are looking at, who are in existence to fund the protection of these places. So the community commitment and passion behind the protection really makes the project happen.
Yes, and I'd like to just ask Elizabeth a question. With all that we've just talked about, you have been very instrumental with the Livable Hawaii Kai Hui as far as bringing this project to realization, shall we say. In your, how big a role do you think that the Hui played in getting this off the ground?
I think that we were a group that sort of like the glue. The individuals were there. They were doing their best to do the work. We even had Marty LaPrade, who was on her own writing to D.C., and everybody and anybody that would understand that this little black bird with a red shield that has yellow feet looks like something very special. Locally, she couldn't get any response, and she didn't let up. So we had these individual community members, Chris Kramer and Anne Marie, doing what they're doing with the heiau, knowing that something was really important. And as an organization, I think that we were the glue that kept it together. I didn't know Marty before this project. She just happened to call, asked a question. It is just our MO to make sure that we're always there to try and help the person. And this beautiful story came out about a bird that happens to be on a neighboring property, and then we found out about the wetland that connects on with the Hawaii heiau. So it was just an unfolding and an unrolling. So I'd say that the role that the Hui plays is initially as the glue that brought it together and kept it together, but then in unifying and holding hands with everybody else, and moving forward, learning a lot from the Trust for Public Land, going through some strategic planning. We're now going to be, we're now poised and ready and have the capacity to eventually take title and take the conservation plan that we do have, execute it, and make sure that we have funding and proper public access, education component, everything that the members who originally brought the project to want, and what else the community identifies they would like to see in the project as well. So we'll continue to play a role in the project.
And that's so wonderful. I know that the Hui has just done tremendous work out there in the Mauna Lua. We try not to say, Hawaii Kai too much, but, and that brings to mind also the importance of using the proper names, for different areas. And I know that there is a concern about, is it Keavava? Is it Keavava? What is the name of it, Anne-Marie, can you talk a little bit about the importance of using the place names and correctly and as information comes about?
Well, the importance of using place names, it gives you a sense of history. Just like our families, we have names and that's our genealogy. Well, the land and ocean have genealogy, and when you change those names, you change the genealogy. And it's important that we know the genealogy of our land, and we know that by the place names. Kaluanui, which is the ridge above, means the big pit. Below is the Luakini heiau, and then there is a Lua pit. So it's so significant. We're also looking at it, though. I think working with Laura has been great, too, because she understands that we're really fluid. Nothing's set in stone. We have a pronunciation this day that we're using, but you know what? Someone comes along with new information. Well, that's really cool. Let's think about that. So it's the collection of information, and the more that we collect, the better decisions we can make, and the more that we're sharing properly. Because I would hate to say, this is the pronunciation, this is where we're at, and then someone comes along and with something new and go, no, this is where we're at. So Laura has been really great in that. And I just want to jump in real quick and say that these two, I cannot thank them enough for the work that they have been doing behind the scenes, making this happen for all of us. They're both very humble, but all the paperwork, dealing with lawyers, dealing with the land, dealing with title, I mean, they're always together, always working together. And the work that they're doing now, Laura just had a little baby girl. Her baby girl will see the work that she's done 20 years from now as that place comes to fruition and we continue that work. Yes. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. So.
Exactly.
So back to place names. Yeah, they're really important.
And you know, we cannot reiterate enough how important it is for all the different partners to work in tandem with each other and in communication with each other to make any project work. Right. Now, is there anything that we haven't mentioned that is interesting about this project that would help future projects looking at us as a model? Is there anything that you think that might be interesting out there for people to know?
Specific for this particular parcel, the 5 acres, one of the things that I found was interesting was that it was always deeded to be a park, and that because nobody ever really wanted to step up and make it a park, it changed hands and it was sold over and over again. And here we are today. It wanted to be a park. It's going to be a park. You know, this is what the land wanted. Yeah. So I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit in looking at the history of the land and who's owned it and so forth. So it'll be what it wants to be, and I'm really happy about that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that there's this amazing grove of coconut tree. That is just so beautiful, yes. And we now have this fabulous opportunity to protect that grove of coconut tree, and we're going to try and maintain that lineage of that particular tree. So for other groups, the one thing I wanted to say is that never say never and never give up. Yeah. If you can dream it, it can certainly become a reality. Just look to your left and right, and you're going to find community there to work with you.
Thank you. And, you know, we have a few minutes left, and I'd like to ask each and every one of you to give a final thought about the project, about maybe its future, about what the community can still help out with, and anything you'd like to share with the community to say, this is what how we can use the rest of the community out there in Mauna Loa. Anne-Marie, would you like to start?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I just want to say, like you just said, Mauna Loa. People say you live in Hawaii Kai, and again, I use both name, Hawaii Kai and Mauna Loa. But when you say Mauna Loa, you said a name that's been said 1,000 years, and it leaves your mouth. It embraces all those other people have said it for 1,000 years, and that's pretty special. As far as what community does, I think that we're having some little bit difficulty with the heiau right now, in that young people are going in and graffitiing around it, and you know, I think if we can as a community watch our sacred sites and watch our historical places and make sure that we all can become a part of taking care of it. And part of it too is our responsibility as we acquire this property and really have the title that we can go out and educate and share with people. And it's a long-term process, and I think as community, if you're interested, ask a question of us. We've had so many people come by and go, what are you doing in here? And we'll explain to them what's going on. And they're like, wow, I didn't know this was here. Yeah. And they're so excited about it. So, you know, just come up, talk story, and just going on with what Elizabeth said, if you're a community member, never give up. Go to your neighborhood board. Go to your representative. Call anybody you know that can help. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Laura? I guess what's really exciting to me, being also a proud resident of Mauna Loa myself, is that once the public is given appropriate access to the area, it really, I believe, will ignite this real strong interest, especially with the younger generation in the Mauna Loa area, in terms of what the area was like before, what they still have, and really a sense of pride about where they are from. So, you know, that it's not just, oh, I live next to Costco, but it's, you know, I am from Mauna Loa, and this is the history of my land. And so that will be very exciting, and I think that kind of pride, it will be contagious to other communities as well.
Wonderful. Elizabeth?
I just want to say that it's an honor to work on the project, and that Hawaii Heiau Complex and Kiawa'awa Wetland is for the people, and it's being done by the people. And I invite all that is interested in learning and participating at any time to come forth and share. Let us share with you and offer up whatever it is that you have as a resource to help. So that's basically what I'd like to do, is just extend an open invitation to the public at large to join in and have a lot of fun and take honor in building something amazing for future generations.
Now, if the community wants to get involved and they're not part of the Hui, who can they contact? Who can they call? Is there information out there that they can
well, probably there is a website currently. It's Livable Hawaii Kai Hui's website.
Okay.
Eventually we'll have a specific website for this project, but for now the website is probably the best place to go, and it's hawaiikaihui.org.
Okay,
thank you.
Great. Great.
hawaiikaihui.org.
So that's great for people who just want to go into the internet and just look it up. And we encourage, we encourage the community involvement because it does work. As we have seen in this project. And our time is just about up. But I really would like to thank all three of you for being here on this program today and giving aloha. That's such a wonderful thing because each and every one of you has given a tremendous amount of aloha and aloha aina, preserving the land, preserving a part of urban Mauna Lua that would have been not there had it not been for all of your folks' efforts. And so I'd just like to say thank you, all you out there listening to this program today. And on behalf of Livable Hawaii Kai Hui, Trust for Public Lands, and our three wonderful guests here today, mahalo, ahui ho, and aloha.